Good evening and welcome to the Radical SR8 Championship. Round 2 takes us stateside over to Watkins Glen on the boot configuration. We are in the closing minutes of qualifying, and so far it is John Hudson who's setting the pace, but can anyone take that pole position point away from him? We'll find out very, very shortly. I am Tom Cairns in the commentary position. Alongside me is Jim Cunningham, who will be with me to analyse everything over the course of the next hour and a half or so. Let's have a quick rundown on the championship standings after the first round we had in Mount Panorama last week. Luke Maxwell leads the way on 57 points, 14 clear over second place Paul LeMay. It's Josh Reed in third, and then Andrew Horswood in fourth place. It's John Hudson on 36 and James Barry on 35. Paul Crabb on 33, and it's Evan Bremer and Gert van Polman in 8th and 9th. Jamie Bird ran out the top 10 on 28 points. It's Stefan Mellis on 22 points, along with Mike Boosson, Anthony Hilton on 19, followed by Damien Gage, Josiah Douglas, Michael LeMay, Ben Underdown, and Nick Marshall, rounding out all of those to have scored points so far this season. And we are at round 2 of the championship, and we've got a long way to go in the championship. 10 rounds it'll be. We've been to Mount Panorama last week. Tonight is Watkins Glen. We'll run down on the schedule a little bit later on. Let's bring Jim into the booth. Jim, how are you, sir? How are you gearing up for this evening's action?
Doing great, man. And I'm of course, I'm a huge fan of Radicals, and I love Watkins Glen. A lot of people criticize Watkins Glen. I'm a big fan, though. I love this track. I love the bus stop chicane. It's great. Oh, wow, that was quick. We jumped right into qualifying, finishing up. We got here just in time. Perfect.
We have, and it's John Hudson who ended that session on pole position for race number 1. And he'll be very happy to collect that point, but I'm sure he'll want to collect a whole lot more, maybe the next 20 points by the end of race 1. He's on pole ahead of Paul LeMay. It's Luke Maxwell and James Barry on the second row, followed by Evan Bremer and Andrew Horswood. Josh Reed and Paul Crabb on row 4. Then it's Mena de Graaf and Mike Boosson running out the top 10. Jamie Bird and Damien Gee on next, followed by Gert van Jan Polman and Stefan Mellis on row 7. Peter Soldis competed for the first time this season tonight. He's in 15th, ahead of Michael LeMay. Josiah Douglas and David Walters, who's also competed for the first time this season. He's in 18th place. Nick Marshall is at the back in 19th position. I'm just waiting for a few drivers to make their way onto the grid. Just very quickly, Jim, what are you looking out for in race 1?
Well, I think, let's see. To be honest, some of these guys that qualified a little farther back that are pretty fast, it'll be interesting to see if they can work their way up. And of course, you can't let guys like McCutcheon or Maxwell get away from you here early. You've got to stay on them, because if they cut loose, they're gone. You can't battle too much behind them.
I'm waiting for John Hudson and Mike Boosson to make their way onto the grid. It won't be too long. There is like a set amount of time you are allowed to have from the beginning of a session before the lights do actually go out. I think it's up to 2 minutes via the iRacing algorithm. Mike Boosson has found his way onto the grid, just waiting for John Hudson, the man who sets up the whole championship of this before we got underway and sorts out all the drivers and all that. So hats off to him for getting this championship up and running last week. We are ready to go for race number 1, and we're waiting for 5 red lights to illuminate. And when they go out, we'll be racing for the first time here in Watkins Glen. Lights on, lights off, it's go in Watkins Glen. John Hudson getting off the line ahead of Luke Maxwell's got the jump on Paul LeMay before they get to the 90. So Luke Maxwell finds himself in second place. The race 1 and 3 winner last week in Mount Panorama has got through into second place already. But it's John Hudson who leads the way, followed by Luke Maxwell. That's Paul LeMay in third place, James Barry 4th. We've got Andrew Horswood, Ethan Bremer, Paul Crabb, Josh Reed, Mena de Graaf, and Jamie Bird inside the top 10. And now they all dice towards the inner loop on this back straight here. It's very tricky that they all, it's a very tricky section of the course. Can they all get through cleanly here? Luke Maxwell drops it. He got it all wholly wrong through the inner loop before they get to the hairpin. And that was the invitation of which Paul LeMay was never going to refuse.
Yeah, he opened that right up for him there. It looks like Maxwell just kind of overshot that, carried a little too much speed through that initial part of the bus stop there.
We're looking at Josh Reed, who's alongside Luke Maxwell. I think that might be Evan Bremer, actually. So it's Josh Reed getting through on Evan Bremer on the inside of the boot section. They're coming towards the heel right-hander. And we're right on board with Luke Maxwell. He's down to 6th position after a really poor start. He can get back towards the front. If he just settle into a rhythm, he'll find his way back towards the front. But no major incidents so far, it seems. I mean, David Walters is down in last place behind Josiah Douglas, but no one in the wars, really. I ended up going back into pit lane. So all 19 runners still running, Jim.
Yeah, this is it's been a clean start, which doesn't surprise me with this group. You know, they're gonna run clean. Most of these guys know they can't win this race on the first lap, so that doesn't terribly surprise me there. I tell you what, man, LeMay is all over McCutcheon here. McCutcheon had pulled out a little lead, but Paul has closed that right up.
Very quickly indeed, but that's nothing in comparison to the battle that's going on a little bit further behind, where James Barry and Paul Crabb are. There is Luke Maxwell right on board ahead of him. James Barry and Paul Crabb, as Crabb looks to the outside there. And does he find a way through past James Barry? The answer is yes. So Paul Crabb, who's in a different livery tonight compared to what he had last week, is through ahead of James Barry and into 3rd position, which was a nice overtake round the outside into the inner loop. I think once James Barry knew that Crabb got his nose alongside before the apex, he had to give that one up. Luke Maxwell in 5th place is back ahead of Andrew Horswood, who's had an absolute mare of it, and there's been a collision at the back before they get to the toe corner. We'll want to see who it is. I think Jamie Bird and Mike Bousson have come together, and they are both effectively out of the race.
Oh, I got this on slow-mo here, so we refresh it. Give us something that's a little quicker like that.
This is Jamie Bird entering the boots section of the course. He's behind Josh Reed. There we go. Look.
Slid up, yeah. Let's take.
I think was that Andrew Horswood. I think that was Andrew Horswood that tangled with Jamie Bird. You could just see more drivers trying to get through that. I think Josiah Douglas, who took evasive action, ended up spinning.
He did, yes. Let's look at this from this angle. The tree kind of got right in the way, but yeah, it looks like he just slid up there.
It's Josh Reid. Yeah. It's Josh Reid who came together with Horswood first, and then Bird and Bousson were just innocent bystanders.
Look at this mess, would you? Wow. I don't know who that was that avoided that, but that was fantastic. Wow.
Not good news for Josiah Douglas. He's back into pit lane.
We've got several guys in pit lane now. It looks like about 4 of them. Wow.
Well, I tell you who is in the pit lane, Jim. Paul Crabb. Yeah. Paul Crabb's in the pit lane. We don't know what's happened to him.
Well, he
need to see what happened.
Had a separate incident here. Let's see.
This is, I think this is James Barry who got back through, or tried to get back through. This is over at heel. And yeah, it was a coming together, and Luke Maxwell put Paul Crabb into the wall.
I'll tell you what, that heel corner gets me all the time too, but that wasn't really all on him there. But let's see, one more angle real quick if you can.
It's deja vu all over again between James Barry and Paul Crabb. Remember race 1 at the Chase last week?
Yes, that's right. Oh, man. Golly. Yeah, that wasn't his fault, I don't think. Wow, man, that's close. That's a racing incident, we'll call it. But
we'll leave that one alone for now. But that has set Paul Crabb back. He's got a lot of work to do. But if he can try and finish inside the top 10 or in the top 5 in this race, because we have 3 races this evening. The first 2 being 15 minutes, and the third one being, I believe, 25. It'll be top 5 reverse for the grid of race 2, and it's the top 10 reverse for race 3 on the basis of the race 2 result. We've got more drivers in the pits. Miller DeGraaf and Andrew Horswood are both in. What has happened to the pair of them? We thought it was a clean start, but now it's all kicking off.
Yeah, apparently I'm looking to see what happened to DeGraaf here. I don't really see an incident where obviously something happened.
Well, we'll come away from that for now, and we'll focus on the action, what's in front of us. James Barry in front of Luke Maxwell. This is Miller DeGraaf, who went into pit lane. Well, maybe he picked up some damage from somewhere, Jim. That's the only thought.
I thought maybe he might have spun right there at the pit entrance and it showed him entering, but I don't know. Anyway, let's go back up here at front. We've got You know, McCutcheon's still out here in the lead. Paul LeMay right there.
Paul using the track and then some. Hudson ahead of Paul LeMay, keeping in touch with the Scotsman who won race 2 last week in Mount Panorama, going for his second win of the season here. Paul LeMay, who goes into this round looking at his points totals so far this season, second in the championship with 43 points, 14 points off the leader, that is Luke Maxwell. And I will say that after this round, the Pro and Am categories will come into force. So we'll find out who will be in Pro and who will be in Am after this round. And we've just seen Josh Reed run a little bit wide there, and it'll cost him some speed on the exit, allowing Evan Bremer to tuck in behind and head up the hill before the inner loop arrives for both Reed and for Bremer. There's Reed around the outside. Can he do what Paul Crubb did to James Barry earlier on in the race and send one to the outside? He's not quite alongside enough, and Josh Reed was always going to be later on the brakes to keep himself in front.
Yeah, and it looks like Luke Maxwell's still struggling to get back up there to the front. He, after that little bus stop chicane incident he had on lap 1, he's back up to 4th, but of course he's got James Barry in front of him. You know, these liveries are concerning me a little bit. I feel like that these might not be accurate. I'm gonna run a refresh.
Well, Luke Maxwell's is not accurate. Well, Luke Maxwell's car is not accurate to the graphic that you just seen on the screen. There's a few drivers that have turned up with different liveries to what they had last week. Luke Maxwell is one of them. James Barry's another, and Paul Crubb is a third. So I can imagine there'll be a few others.
Let's do this real quick, and I'm going to run a quick refresh and see if we can get this paint situation straightened out.
Whilst Jim sorts that out, we'll focus on the action involving James Barry and Luke Maxwell. Maxwell just holding back for the time being. We are past the halfway mark of this race already. We're on to lap number 6 here in Watkins Glen, and so far it's John Hudson who leads the way ahead of Paul LeMay. James Barry in the final podium position. He finished on the podium twice in last week. He finished second in race 2 and third in race 3. And he didn't finish in the first race after he's coming together with Paul Crubb at the chase. We look at Paul LeMay to the outside of John Hudson towards the inner loop. But Hudson holds his line, and Paul LeMay just has to hold back and wait for another opportunity to come around.
If you know how to get through that bus stop chicane, it's no big deal, you know, as long as you hit the mark on it. But a lot of people try to make it a bigger turn than it really should be. It's almost straight through there if you get the entry point right.
Well, Paul LeMay's finding his way through. I think there was an overtake going on further right. I think Peter Solder's got in front of Stefan Mellis, and Mellis lost another position to Michael LeMay.
Oh,
Stefan Mellis
off the track there.
Yeah, he's just run wide there.
Approaching. Like not running a white livery. That just cannot be right. Yeah,
we're about 5 minutes away from the checker flag in this first one of 3. There's 20 points for a race win in races 1 and 2, 15 for second, 14 for third, and it's a point difference from every position downwards. We look at Josh Reed, who's in 5th place. Not only that, he would be on reverse grid pole should he remain there. And he's got Evan Bremer wanting to take that away from him to give him a better grid position for race 2. So here we are coming through the 90. Reed and Bremer. And looking at the lap times we are seeing, I'm just trying to work out how many laps we've got left here, and I would probably say 3 at least, maybe 4, just depending on how quick John Hudson gets over the line before the 15-minute mark.
Apparently Nick Marshall just had an incident. Let's see what happened with him.
Well, he's still in the race, is Nick Marshall, although I think he came into the pits briefly. He's on his own way at the back. This is over at heel.
Oh.
And yeah, he's another recipient of that corner, but at least he stays in the race.
He was still spinning. Yeah, that's happened to many a person through there for sure.
Back to this battle, which is now what looks like a 4-way battle for 3rd place. James Barry, Luke Maxwell, Josh Reed, and Evan Bremer, nose to tail. as they come towards this notorious section of heel, as it's proven to be over the course of tonight. There is Bremer right on board. We can't quite see what's happening further ahead, as we see Menna de Graaf being overtaken by Jamie Bird, who's trying to make up for lost time after what had happened to him and Mike Bousson, Andrew Horswood and Josh Reed. He's doing his best to make his way up the order just to help give himself the best chance of a grid position. If he was to remain in 13th place, he would get, I think it would be 4 championship points. So it's always better than nothing. Always finish the race. That's what I would say. You never know what could happen later in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's struggling, obviously, with the front end missing off that car. That's killing the downforce and probably holding his top end speed down a little bit, because obviously he has no aero up there. And as James would say, he's running out there getting his feet cold. But in this case, it looks like a nice sunny day. He's probably out there getting a little tan instead. All right, look at this. We've got a battle back up here.
We've got a race on for the win. Polomay taking one line compared to Matt Hudson. He's got a little too deep into the boot, but he's trying to use that to his advantage to get a good exit speed. But he's dropped back a little bit so Matt Hudson can just breathe a little. As LeMay continues to make it as difficult as he can as they head towards heel. Got 2 minutes and 10 to go, so it's touch and go whether next time around is going to be the last lap of the race. We'll get the white flag from the marshal on the pit straight to determine whether we've got 1 lap to go or not. So as they're coming around the left-hander, and John Hudson doing a fine job and a very mature one of that from pole position. A championship point for that, and it's going to be 20 for the win, which will do his chances in the championship no harm whatsoever. Luke Maxwell will remain in the lead of the championship heading into race 2. There is the white flag, so we do have 1 lap to go, Jim.
Yeah, I was thinking we might get this one and one more, but get one more before the white, but it looks like we didn't. So yeah, this is it. Let's see what we got. If there's anything, a little racy back here as well.
This is important because this is for reverse grid pole between Josh Reed and even Bremer. Bremer into the slipstream once more as they enter the back straight before the inner loop. Bremer looking to the outside eventually once he's got a good enough toe. He might be able to use the toe off the 2 cars ahead of him to give him the advantage, but Reed was always going to have the inside line and shuts the door for the time being. This is far from over by any means, but Bremer is running out of opportunities to make this work.
Yeah, he is. Man, he is all over him though right here.
All over.
Doing a good job though.
He's defending brilliantly, is Josh Reed. Taking all the lines and then some. He just needs to also watch what's going on ahead, just in case Barry and Maxwell do come together again here. And we're running out of time in this first race. Got a few more corners to go. Paul LeMay behind Hudson, who continues to run wide there. And they do carry on as they are. And now they're coming around the left-hander. And then we've got 2 more corners to go of the lap here. And it's going to be John Hudson holding off Paul LeMay to the flag. Paul LeMay gave it his all, but Hudson was just too good. Yeah. John Hudson rounds the last corner, and he'll take the first victory of the night here in Watkins Glen ahead of Paul LeMay. James Barry 3rd, Luke Maxwell in 4th. Josh Reed just about holds off even Bremer to 5th, and he's on reverse grid pole for race 2.
Yeah, that was
Bremer 6th.
Nice run. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Gert-Jan Polman in 7th, followed by Damien Guy, Michael LeMay 9th, Stefan Millis completes in the top 10. It's Peter Solders, David Walters ahead of Mendes de Graaf, who should be 13th. There is Jamie Bird, who's got overtaken again by Mendes de Graaf, so he'll want to try and get that place back. But I think Mendes de Graaf is going to win out on this occasion. So it'll be de Graaf in 13th, Bird 14th, and a long way back from these two is Paul Crabb. 15th place it'll be, but he's got 2 championship points. I will mention there is a drop points best results rule. I think they count the best 8 rounds for each driver, so it could be that this round ends up being one of his worst scores of the season, which could end up being dropped as far as the championship is concerned. And wait for Nick Marshall to get over the line.
Certainly will be for Bousson, obviously. You know, this will definitely be one of his drop rounds. Which is, yeah, he had a rough one during this one.
Nick Marshall getting over the line in 16th place, bagging a championship point at least for his season. He came into the rounds with 6 points. Now make that 7. Let's run down on the race result. If we do have one ready, Jim.
We should have one here, but the grid is already popping up actually.
Okay, so let's John Hudson winning ahead of Paul and Main. It's James Barry, Luke Maxwell 4th, Josh Reed 5th, and on reverse group Paul, followed by Evan Bremer, Gert-Jan Polman, Damien Gee, Michael LeMay, and Stefan Millis ran out the top 10. It's Peter Soldis, David Walters, Mena de Graaf, Jamie Bird, Paul Crabb, and Nick Marshall were the rest of those to finish. Josiah Douglas, Andrew Horsewood, and Mike Bousson did not finish. Josh Reed on reverse group Paul with Luke Maxwell alongside. It's James Berry and Paul LeMay on road 2. John Hudson will start 5th. Everyone else starting in the same positions as they had finished in race 1.
So here's your grid.
So over Bremer 6th, had a Gert-Jan Polman. I think we are ready to go, actually. I think everyone is on the grid, Jim, so we'll go to the lights now. We are underway for race 2. Luke Maxwell getting the jump on Josh Reed even before they get to the 90. And John Hudson up to 3rd place as well. He made a lightning start from 5th place and now is into 3rd and on the back of Josh Reed, who lost out to Luke Maxwell at the start there. But Maxwell has taken the opportunity, securing the knowledge. He has 2 wins, as much as John Hudson has 2 wins, so it's 2 apiece between those two. Will Maxwell make it 3-2 in his favour?
Wow, that was quite a jump there. Man, he's making up for that little mistake he had in the first round. He looks like a man on a mission right now.
Very much so. We've got a spinner, Paul LeMay, who finished 2nd in race 1, already going round at the inner loop. And there he is in the runoff area.
Yeah,
There's a terrible shame.
We'll look at that in a minute.
I think Jamie Bird has also got caught up in that, and Andrew Horsewood is out. Andrew Horsewood out of the race. Paul LeMay not having the best time of it. Jamie Bird having an awful evening so far. He's found himself in the wars again. It's Luke Maxwell ahead of Josh Reed. How long will it be before John Hudson gets through on his fellow Scotsman? So he enter the heel. Jan Polman in 6th place so far, having a good one of this. And there is Hudson on the tail of Reed and Maxwell coming around to finish the first lap. And we've got Paul Crabb going round again, and I think he's come together with Michael LeMay. Yeah, so it's a chaotic first lap compared to what we had in the first race of the evening, and it hasn't got any better so far for either of the LeMays here. There is Michael LeMay, and he's going to hit the curb, I think. Or does Paul Crabb run into him? No, it's Paul Crabb that runs into him.
Wow. I mean, I don't think he slowed too much there. It didn't appear that he did. Not that that would matter. You still don't need to rear end anybody. But wow, that's oh my goodness, what has happened here? This is not the first. Oh, this is not the first spin that Paul had. This is the second one he just had. Yeah.
He's got damage. He's got damage as Paul made. That's not an unforced error. He'll have picked up damage from earlier on at the inner loop where he had spun. I wonder if he's come together with someone, hit the wall. Yeah, he could just see his suspension's broken and Paul LeMay's race is done.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder if he got a tap from someone before or whether he just dropped it by himself.
That almost looked like some kind of net code, like he got hit from behind. Look at this.
Yeah, it's the right rear. I think the right rear's gone. I think he's getting hit by someone.
Okay, I'm going to go back live, and then I'm going to focus on the front up here. And I'm going to go look and see if I can find the incident where he might have gotten hit.
Well, Luke Maxwell's leading the way ahead of Josh Reed still. John Hudson in 3rd. Then it's James Barry, who's yet to pick up a win so far this season, is in 4th. And it's Evan Bremer keeping in touch with these 4. It's pretty much between any of them. It's a 20-minute race, this one, not a 15-minute. And it'll be a 25-minute feature, which will be determined by the race 2 result, with the top 10 being reversed. But it's the same point system as what it was in race 1. 20 points for the win, 15 for second. And it's 14, 13 downwards for each position. Peter Soldis has found himself in the pit lane. Don't know for certain what's happened to him. Michael LeMay's just moved in front of Nick Marshall for position, determined to make up for lost time.
Soldis might have had a little issue too. Let's see.
Well, this is a battle he was in.
It's a bus stop too.
So he's allowed the driver ahead of him to go past.
Oh
yeah, the curb.
It's
the curb that's got him out.
Caught that big curb there. That's the problem with these cars. They're okay over the curbs to a degree, but if you get a too big a one, they're pretty light, and they just threw his car around a little too much.
Yeah, you don't want to be too greedy going over those curves. I mean, these cars the suspensions may be fine going over certain curves, but certainly not as heavy as that one there that caught out Peter Soldis.
It's a good little battle back here with Mellis and Busan and Pullman and Minnow de Graaf right there on the back of it, I believe.
This is it's David Walters is in 11th place. Josiah Douglas, he's involved in this, so this is important because this could determine race 3 grid. It is top 10 that get reversed for race 3 at the end of this one, so they all just need to think carefully and think long and hard how they tackle this one. Ahead of this lot is in fact it's 6th place Damien Gee, who we've not really spoken about that much this evening.
Well, Mike Busan is surprisingly back here at 9th. I mean, Mike Busan is a guy you would expect to see up there around the top 5. He obviously had a really horrible first race. Here he is back struggling in 9th, but he is up 10 spots already because obviously he was starting at the back because of that horrible result he had in the first race. So he's moving. In fact, he just gained another spot.
He's just boxed in though. That's what I thought he was going to have to yield, but no, he's made up a position ahead of Gert-Jan Polman.
He's moving right now, actually. He's flying.
Well, I'll tell you who is moving, or is John Hodgson, because he's right with Josh Reed, entering the boot. And this is the toe corner that Hodgson is going to send one to the inside of Josh Reed, and that move was coming all along. It was a matter of time, and John Hodgson finds his way into the silver medal position. 2nd place he goes.
I thought James Berry might have followed him through there for a second. Yeah, that was a nice move right there, McCutcheon.
Yeah, it was pretty much about patience, really, and persistence, and Hodgson's found his way through. He doesn't need to rush this.
No.
He wants to look after his tyres, but he needs to watch out for Josh Reed just in case Reed does attempt to fight back here.
Yeah, we still got just a little bit short of 15 minutes left in this race. Still plenty of time. Yeah, which is really impressive for Busan. In 5-6 minutes, he's moved up 11 spots. That's he's coming up through the field. That's good to see.
Josiah Douglas has had an incident of his own. It feels like he's having a spin at every single race he's been competing in this season.
I'm gonna give him a little airtime on the first one. I won't do it to him if it happens again, but
no, this is a spin he's had. This is on the exit of... This is the 3rd to last corner of the circus. It's just exiting the boot.
Yeah, just coming out of the boot there.
Yep. Yeah. And we'll come away from that. I don't want to humiliate him, so we'll just come away from that. Yeah. John Hodgson in 2nd place behind Luke Maxwell as they come out of the fast sweeping right-hander, and they're entering the boot once more. And this is going to be really, really tasty to watch. This is kind of like an epitome of how the championship is going to be decided between these two.
Exactly. Look at this. Look at McCutcheon's line he took there. He's going to try to come underneath him right here. Look at this. Oh, they touched a little bit, I believe. Hodgson
being very clever with how he's forced Luke Maxwell wide, and this is going to allow the inside line for the heel. Do they get through it safe and sound? They do, but Josh Reed could find his way through past Luke Maxwell. Exiting the boot, they come now, and Reed to the outside, and he's through into 2nd place. Luke Maxwell needs to watch for James Berry because he's within a car tank, which could see him have the high ground on the exit, the penultimate turn of the track, and James Berry is into 3rd place. So Luke Maxwell entering the boot was in the lead, exiting the boot down to 4th place.
Wow. Yeah, McCutcheon set him up fantastic right there. You could see John swing it wide to bring it back underneath him like that, and unfortunately that opened the door, and for Luke Maxwell it was unfortunate because everybody decided to go through the door while it was open.
Maxwell will be hard done by, but now he's just got to focus on just settling into it and just hope something crops up ahead. Josh Reed fighting back with John Hudson, showing that he is no pushover by any means, but he needs to watch for James Barry as they enter in the loop, and Hudson survives for now. Now, it's not that Hudson is prone to mistakes. We know he can make mistakes. I mean, last week showed it, but so far he's making no mistakes this evening.
Yeah, well, and based on my experience, you know, he hasn't been one to make a lot of mistakes for sure. So, you know, yeah, last week certainly happened, but you can't expect him to do that every week for you, because he is, man, I tell you what, he is fast and he's smooth.
He's holding together. He's now the head at this queue. 5 cars going for the win. Hudson, Reed, Barry, Maxwell, and Bremer. Damien Gay's the next car behind. We've just seen an overtake from Menedegoff and Gert-Jan Polman. There was a battle going on between them. There was a switcheroo in the timing tower. And I think Buson is now ahead of Polman, thinking of it. He is ahead of this lot now. Or, sorry, thought, but he's on the tail, actually, of Stefan Mellis is in P7. And Mike Buson doing a sensational drive on the back of the grid. It may not have been consistent so far this season, but his racecraft still burns. And you can see that he's into the slipstream. He's looking away. It's almost like he's stumbling before he even gets to the 90. Round the outside goes Mike Buson. It's going to be very difficult because
he's struggling to get by Mellis here. I'm nothing against Stefan or whatever, but I fully expected him to get right on by Mellis. I really did, and Stefan's getting 5th here.
Well, he's still there, Mellis. I didn't think he would hold on here through the S's up the hill. But I think Buson has this one, unless Mellis can outbrake him. He does outbrake him, and Mellis remains in front. And now Buson finds himself exposed at the hands of Gert-Jan Polman through the right-hander.
No, he's going around. Oh my goodness!
Thankfully, he doesn't take anyone with him.
Yeah, he did not. But oh my goodness, he was on such a nice run.
Huge shame there, but at least he can maybe try and go for reverse grid pole if he can get back into the top 10. Mike Buson. This is the top 5 you're seeing in picture. Hudson not pulling away by any means. As long as Josh Reed can just stay in that tow, Hudson most certainly isn't going to have this one sewn up until the checker flag appears.
This is an absolute freight train here. And we've got 5 cars here that are covered by less than a second.
It's thrilling to see. It's wonderful to see around this legendary circuit of Watkins Glen, former home of the US Grand Prix.
Yep.
And the last time they raced,
this was the first circuit opened in America after World War II, if I'm not mistaken.
You could well be right on that one. I know the Indy 500 used to host Formula 1 events in the 50s, but Watkins Glen last hosted a race in 1980. Yes, it is that long ago since Formula 1 last raced here.
If I'm being honest, that's surprising. I thought it was going to be even before that, because I was coming into Formula 1 fan time around then, and I don't ever remember Formula 1 racing here. I would have loved to have seen that.
It's a beautiful racetrack, but of course it has had its history of tragedy as well, not to mention 1973, where Francois Sever was tragically killed during practice, who of course was Sir Jackie Stewart's teammate. Sir Jackie Stewart, who had already won the championship and was retiring from Formula 1 at the end of the season. Why did he retire? Well, it's because he felt it was too unsafe for him to continue racing.
He was the biggest advocate of any race driver ever for safety for drivers in Formula 1. He was absolutely responsible for so many things changing during that time period in the 70s, because he was such a big name and he had won numerous championships. Quite an impressive man, and the world never knew that the entire time Jackie was doing all of that, and even when he was doing his commentating, which he was fabulous at, he couldn't read or write. He had severe dyslexia, so bad that he could not read or write, and he made it all the way through his life, that part of his life, without being able to read or write.
Well, hats off to Sir Jackie Stewart, who's still with us to this day.
Yeah,
He turns 86 this in June. So
I'm a huge Jackie Stewart fan. He was like the first guy that I remember. That Scottish accent, was as a kid I was just so enamored by him. And then he did commentary, and he was fantastic. Sorry, I got off my little Jackie Stewart rant. I love Jackie Stewart. So we got
he's a lovely man.
little incident real quick here. I don't want to focus on too many of these kind of things, but I think this is going to be another one of those self-spins.
This is over at the heel.
Here. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, that'll get you that turn right there. I have a tendency not to do that. I have a tendency not to be able to get the car to turn and run super wide there. Yeah, that's a mess through there. This is a great course, and I tell you what, there's so many places that the car can get away from you here.
Well, Reed and Barry battling has allowed Hudson just to pull further away. Got around about 5 minutes to go, and I would say we've got 3 laps to go here in the second race of Watkins. Glen Hudson from 5th place on the grid, thanks to the win in race 1. Well, he's made light work of these drivers, and he's on course to make it 2 in a row.
Yeah, and I'm looking back here now. Since we are within 5 minutes, we can start talking about some of these other battles like this one here. This is a battle for the pole position for the final race between Bird here and David Walters behind him. And Minnow DeGraff is up the road quite a bit. So it's really going to come down to, I think, these two, who's going to snag the pole for the final race here today.
Good battle raging between Jamie Bird, David Walters and Michael LeMay, who had that spin when he came together with Paul Crabb. Paul Crabb's running in 15th position, unfortunately, which is a shame, which is a lot lower down compared to what we've seen from him this evening. He's not had a good evening, has he?
No, we're going to keep an eye on that. Oh, my gosh. No, okay. It's just closed in. We'll keep an eye on that Bird-Walters battle back there, and if anything starts to happen, we're going to go back there because that is obviously such an important battle right now. But how can you turn your cameras away from this? You got a 5-car freight train here, the top 5 guys.
This is going to come down to a game of chess.
It really is.
Who's going to flinch first?
I'll tell you what.
That's how it's going to be decided.
Made the first big move. Oh,
Ray
my
spun.
goodness.
Ray spun.
Oh, my word. Getting around. No, yeah, let's go back up here right now. It just settles down. Let's see exactly what happened to him there.
Josh Reed spinning from 2nd place, and this is how he managed to do it. And no one making any contact. He just got on the power too soon.
Yeah.
Got on the power too soon, did Josh Reed.
Wow, man, that is so unfortunate too. He was having a phenomenal run there.
It's a terrible shame.
Oh, and Damon Gee just got by him too. G. Is it Gee or G? I do it every time.
It's Gee.
Gee. I apologize, Damon. I am the worst, man. Man, Josh Reed's steadily dropping back. I don't know. He didn't look like he would have taken any damage there. But he is.
I think it's over.
Oh,
I wonder if he's had another incident. Well, I think that's contributed by the fact he's overheated his rears as he had spun, Jim. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, he's struggling. He's not even fighting it. He's going at a rather more leisurely pace. He's not allowing cars to go past, and he just want the checkered to come out as soon as possible. He won't want to fall too far back, because if he remains in the top 10, he will be in line for a chance to win race 3 later on. But I think if you're Jamie Bird, David Walters, and Michael LeMay, you want to be getting on with it.
Yes, absolutely. Well, he's
Luke Maxwell getting out of shape. Sorry, Luke Maxwell very nearly got out of shape, and now even Bremer is fancying a go. And coming through there, I'm actually surprised they're going that far wide. I don't know why they don't get slowdowns for that, because on a lot of other racetracks.
That particular one there, you can get pretty wide on. Also, the one at the what we were talking about earlier, is it the heel? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get some pretty decent off-track space there without getting slow down. on this track. They even expanded that like within the past year on iRacing. They actually do more runoff right there.
Josh Reed coming into the pace. He's out of the top 10 now. He'll probably want to just stick another set of tyres on and be out on his way. Mike Boost on some way behind him. Michael LeMay's got in front of David Walters, and that's very important because now he's in line for reverse grid pole for race 3. Josh Reed is still in the pits. That'll allow Paul Crabb to go up the order. But these 4 refusing to leave each other alone. I'd probably say that Matt Hutchinson has got this one sewn up now. Yeah, it's whether he was going to finish on the podium with him. It's going to be James Barry, Luke Maxwell, or even Bremer. I don't think Bremer's finished on the podium yet this season, so he'll want to open his podium account for the campaign. And now they're coming through the heel for the penultimate. I think this is the last lap, actually, thinking of it. I think it is the last lap. So John Hutchinson is on his way to victory yet again. His 3rd of the season. It's going to be 2 in a row for the Scotsman, who comes round the penultimate turn and will head over the line. And it'll be John Hutchinson taking victory here in Watkins Glen. Race win number 3 of the campaign. And I think that will propel him into the championship lead. What a drive from John Hutchinson. James Barry 2nd, ahead of Luke Maxwell, who holds off Even Bremer to the flag. And it's Damien Gee who will pick up a brilliant 5th place. Well deserved, has to be said. He's had a clean race as Damien. Stefan Millis 6th. Gert-Jan Polman 8th. Mennedegraaf 9th. Gert-Jan Polman 7th. Mennedegraaf 8th. Jamie Bird in 9th, and Michael LeMay holds off David Walters to the flag, the 10th place, and on reverse grid pole for race 3. David Walters 11th, and it's Mike Bousson who hold off Paul Crabb. Nick Marshall and Josh Reed are the last of those on the lead lap. Paul LeMay cross over the line 1 lap down, as will Peter Soldis.
How
interesting race that.
We're talking about Jackie Stewart, and we got the flying Scotsman here, John McCutcheon, running. He's having a fantastic night tonight for sure. So we got everybody across now, it looks like.
Yeah, so everyone over the line now. And we'll run down the race classification of race number 2. John Hutchinson winning out in the end over James Berry in 2nd place. Luke Maxwell 3rd, Even Bremer 4th. It's Damien Gee, Stefan Millis, Jan Polman, Mendedegraaf in 8th, Jamie Bird 9th, Michael LeMay in 10th, and on reverse grid pole for race 3. David Walters 11th, followed by Mike Bousson, Paul Crabb, Nick Marshall, Josh Reed, who would have lost those to finish on the lead. Like Josiah Douglas, I think, retired on the last lap. Paul LeMay finished 1 lap down, as did Peter Soldis, and in the end, we lost Andrew Horswood on the opening lap of that one. Working out the scores, I think John Hutchinson may still be behind Luke Maxwell, but not far behind. But if he wins race 3, surely he'll be in the lead of the championship by the end of the night.
Well, that's going to be fun to watch. See how that championship changes hands here in race 3. We got a little, I guess, a 5-minute warm up we got going on here. There's a couple cars on track. I'm sure everybody's maybe taking a break, a soft drink break, or a bathroom break, or something like that. Yeah, we've had some good action tonight, though. We really have. This has been, as they say, which I'm not a big fan of using this word, but we've had some spicy action tonight.
We certainly have. We've got time to run down the schedule for the season, Jim. We've been to Mount Panorama so far. It's off to we're at Watkins Glen tonight. Then it's off to Lebanon in France for the first European round of the season. Then it's Knockhill in Scotland on the 9th of June. Sebring in Florida on the 16th of June, followed by Thruxton in the UK on the 23rd, and it's to Solder on the alternate layout on the 30th, to round off the month. Road America on the 7th of July, then it's Spa on the bike layout on the 14th.
That's going to be fun.
Round off this, yeah, it's going to be very fun indeed. And we round off the season at Monza on the historic layout on the 21st of July. Will be fun.
I have not broadcast a race yet on the bike layout. I've seen one. And, I love that turn they put in, but I have not actually broadcast one, so that's exciting. Knockhill is going to be fun. I've never done a race from Knockhill, and that is McCutcheon's real-life home track. Apparently, he lives very close to there. And if I'm not mistaken, aren't you taking a trip to Knockhill soon yourself?
Yes, so it's not certain, but I am looking to go to watch British touring cars, and that's the aim for me. So that'll be fun. Hopefully it doesn't rain too much, because Scotland is rather synonymous when it pours down over there, which to be
Right.
fair, a lot of the UK does rain a lot.
Yes. And
But
then
consider it, yeah.
no, go ahead. Yeah, that's going to be super exciting. I'm not familiar with Knock Hill, so I'm really excited to do that race. Everybody that talks about it seems to get real excited about it, so it must be a fun track.
It is fun.
And then
It's short, but it's really fun.
Thruxton's pretty new to iRacing. I guess they added it either was it this season or it might have been last season, but either way, it's still pretty new to iRacing. So that's going to be a fun one. That's a nice high speed kind of momentum track, which should suit these cars phenomenally, you know. And then Sebring's going to be interesting because that track is so rough. I wonder how these light little bouncy cars are going to take it. You know, they got a stiff suspension and they're really light. That could cause a lot of havoc, you know. So, yeah, it's a lot of good stuff coming up, man. This is a good schedule. They did a good job, whoever picked this or if they voted on it or whatever. This is a fun schedule. I'm excited for it.
I'm excited as well. And you mentioned about Thruxton. It's a very high-speed circuit. Again, another one of those which to attend for British touring cars. I think the weekend after this one coming up. So I am very much looking forward to do some stuff for someone on British touring cars. I wasn't over at Snetterton at the weekend because I was over in Biggin Hill working. But again, I really love going to these racetracks. It's wonderful, you know, over the UK. I mean, going to Thruxton would be fantastic, as well as Knock Hill. Of course, not to mention Alton Park.
Yes.
Is another circuit I'm looking to go to, which has had some racing the weekend that's gone by. I think GB4 had raced there. GB4 Championship, which is essentially like a Formula 4 type championship, which they tend to do, but it's GB4 under its entity. But it's a good championship to watch.
So you mentioned Snetterton. As it turns out, I was talking to my brother-in-law over the weekend, and years ago, he went to a driving school. I knew that, and it was like I'd probably like maybe Formula, like the Formula Fords or the maybe even V's. I don't know, but I think it was like the Formula Fours, which would be the, what do they call them now? The FF something or another on here. But anyway, I didn't know this, but he took that course at Snitterton. So that was kind of cool to find out. I did not know that. And we got to talking about Snitterton, and he was surprised how much I knew about it from doing these broadcasts.
Let's run down on the grid then for race 3. Michael LeMay on reverse grid pole ahead of Jamie Bird. Mendes de Graaf in 3rd and Gerjan Polman in 4th. And Stefan Millis and Damien Gee on row 3, followed by Ivan Bremer and Luke Maxwell. On the 5th row are the two talisman of James Barry and John Hutchison. David Walters 11th ahead of Mike Bousson, Paul Crubb and Nick Marshall on row 7, followed by Josh Reed, hoping to rebound off a disappointing race 2. Josiah Douglas alongside him. Paul LeMay and Peter Solders are on row 9. And at the back, on his own, is Andrew Horswood.
I'll tell you what, you got some really high-quality drivers back there outside of the top 10. And obviously you got some of the fastest guys here back from 10, 11, or 9, 10, 8, back there. It's going to be interesting. There's a lot of cars to come through this field. Look at this jump start here. Holy cow.
I don't think it was a jump start. I think it looked more like...
No, yeah, I didn't mean jump start. I meant, wow, what a start. But
yeah, someone got bobbed down at the start, but Jamie Bird was not one of them. He's all away ahead of Pullman with Luke Maxwell in 3rd. Mendes de Graaf ahead of James Barry, who's made a lightning getaway. He's back in 7th place, though. John Hudson made up a ton of places from 10th to 7th, and it's Damien Gee, Mike Bousson, and Josh Reed, who's had a blinder of a start. He's wasting no time getting up there. But you can see they're all filtering their way through the inner loop. And Jamie Bird in the lead ahead of Gert-Jan Polman and Luke Maxwell.
Wow, this is, they're flying. This is good stuff here.
Out of the right-hander, the fast right-hander before they enter the boot. And there's a super start so far from Jamie Bird getting ahead of LeMay. I think LeMay, thinking of it, was the one that had an absolutely horrendous getaway from reverse grid pole. That's why you saw so many drivers getting ahead of him to begin with. It almost looked like a jump start, but it's actually not.
Yeah.
It was
the way it happened. It fooled me. I was like, everybody was, there was but it was actually just a bad start by him, by LeMay. That's man, he's at the back of the field.
He's down to 18th place. I don't know whether he's had some issues with his sim or whatever, but it's definitely not a good sight. He's back out of Nick Marshall now and making up for lost time. I think Nick Marshall might have gone round for a spin. He's behind Josiah Douglas as well. I don't think he has had a spin. I think he's just lost positions.
Yeah, I don't.
But either way, Jamie Bird, who's had an absolutely torrid evening so far. Well, this is a chance for some compensation after what's been a very difficult evening for him.
Indeed, yeah. This is nice redemption for the evening for him. And now I'll tell you, Josh Reed, I'm sure he's looking to get up there and get a decent finish here. Look at this mess here. About 6 of them, just all scrambling back there.
Well, Hudson's just found a way through past Stefan Mellis into 6th place, and Josh Reed almost found a way through. And now through the outer loop they come. Reed goes through ahead of Ivan Bremer up to 9th position. So that's 6 places up from his starting spot for Josh Reed. He needs to watch his braking points. So there is Mike Bousson. Another one of those who's had a difficult evening. Finds his way through on Stefan Mellis.
That was a nice outside pass there. That's a tough place to pass on the outside.
Yeah, and Josh Reed is past him.
Yep. So yeah, Mellis has dropped back a couple spots there. Of course, these are some super fast guys coming through here.
They come of the boot. Hudson in 6th place behind Miller de Graaf. He won't be too long before Hudson finds his way past. And not too bad of a start from the drivers there. I think it's kind of similar to what we saw in race 1. Michael LeMay ahead of Peter Solis now into 16th. Recovering.
He is recovering
but
a little
Stefan
bit.
Mellis,
Mellis must have had something happen. He's dropping back.
he's had a spin most probably. Stefan Mellis. Maxwell ahead of Barry. I think Maxwell got in front of Barry, unless it's Barry that's moved in front of Gert-Jan Polman.
Yeah, Barry got past Polman.
Nicely done there from Barry. Now you'll just want to go after the top 2 ahead. Out of the S's they come. And you look at the helicam of Barry for a moment, but you can just see Polman trying to fight back. Barry will have to go defensive here because you never know how much later on the brakes Gert-Jan Polman could be. But Barry just holds his line and maintains his position, ensuring that Polman was not going to find a way through.
Oh, that's a nice
entering the boot. Jimmy Bird under threat from Luke Maxwell. Entering tow. James Berry with the fastest up of the race so far. We've only done 2 laps of this one, so we expect that lap time to come down in the very near future. And they're coming out of the boot here. And Jamie Bird not doing too bad of a job so far, but it's just whether, with all the pressure being soaked up on him, do you remember what happened last week in Mount Panorama when he was in the lead and then put it in the wall? And last night, well, he just took the curb so heavily, the car very, very much lifted off the ground there. Thankfully, it doesn't fly through the air, but that's not the kind of thing you want to be doing with these cars.
No, again, these cars don't respond well to the... Ooh, that was close.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he clipped the wall. He clipped the wall, did Miller de Graaf, and that could be all what Hudson needs to go past him here into the 90, but de Graaf is able to hold on, but he's run too far out wide, and Hudson says thank you very much.
Yeah, I think McCutcheon wasn't trying to make that move quickly. He was just trying to make sure he maintained his momentum. He knew through the S's he would get him. You know, watching McCutcheon drive, he is so smart. And he's thinking 2 or 3 moves ahead. You know what I mean? We were talking about playing chess earlier. He is so good at like the way he thinks his way through a race.
Out they come with the outer loop. Got Mellis in the pits along with Damien Gee. And Andrew Horswood also out of the race. Don't know what happened to Gee. We saw Stefan Mellis have a moment towards the last corner a couple of tours ago. He's back in the race anyway, so he'll try and get some points here. We'll mention that it's 25 points for a win. right all the way down to 21st place, though we get 1 point, but given there's only 90 runners, if you do finish the race, then you will score.
Yes, that's right. So, yeah, it's at least something, I guess, for the ones that are having a little struggle. At least it's not past the points limit. But up here in the front, man, Jamie Bird is running a nice race in second place, which is great for him. Obviously, Luke is doing Luke Maxwell kind of things up there.
Yep. And if Luke Maxwell was to come away with the win, it'll be 3-3 in this football match between him and John Hudson in regards to number of race wins. It's only those two who have picked up victories so far this season. McCutcheon's
got a couple seconds to make up here and to get back to get to the front. We've got plenty of time to do it, though. We still got about 18 minutes or so left in this race. Plenty of time.
Hudson knows what he needs to do. Jamie Bird is having to fend off James Barry, who is doing all he can to get back into the fray for the win. But Jamie Bird, who you could say is one of the more dark horse drivers, one of the more slight underdogs in this field,
yes,
he's doing his best to hold on for the time being. And James Barry, well, is finding it very difficult. Michael and May has dropped down the order. Don't know what's happened to him.
He had a crash, I believe. Let's take a look.
This will be over at the end of the loop, I think. It's on its own as well.
Yep, got that curb. Well, that curb is nasty. It will definitely get you.
Back in the pits he goes. Michael LeMay, that's the end of his evening's work. Not he wants to end by any means. Yeah, go on.
I have to say that of all the things that surprised me, well, there's been several guys that have surprised me with their speed this season. Some guys I didn't quite expect to be that fast. I'm really surprised that James Barry has not won one of these races yet.
It feels like he's been in the wars a little bit too much. I mean, he's been involved in a couple of collisions with Paul Crabb. Not just, well, he's one here and one last week in Mount Panorama as he goes through on Jamie Bird. But Bird is doing all he can to just make it as difficult as he can for Barry. But I think Barry's got this one sewn up. Barry through into second place at last.
Yeah, and again, that doesn't surprise me to see that. Oh, look at this.
Well, I did say he was doing his best to make it as difficult as he can. Man. James Barry's going to have to do it all over again, isn't he?
Yeah, Jamie is one that has surprised me this season. Although he's always been fast from what I remember. I think it's unforced and forced errors, a little bit that maybe was holding him back. But when he's fast. He's got the pace of the guys that run up front in this league, which is saying something because there's fast guys in this league.
Barry, well, he's going to have to really fight for this one to even get a podium because he's got John Hudson looming behind.
Yes. That's a big loom, too. That's a big guy to be looming behind you like that.
No, this is important that Maxwell comes away with a race win. If he comes away with a race win, then he'll stay in the lead of the championship.
Well, he's got a reasonably comfortable lead right now, and they're fighting behind him, so that's doing him all the favors in the world right now.
Barry, is he alongside enough? Well, he's not alongside yet, but he just wants to get all that. So he may have to just dummy Bird a little bit into United to make him run out wide and defend.
I'll tell you what, they brought McCutcheon right back into this picture. He was a full second or more behind, and he's right there, gnawing on their heels right now.
Barry will be looking to the outside of Bird very shortly, unless he goes to the inside. Does Bird go defensive here? Barry's not going to go to the inside yet.
That's surprising, man. Bird did not make a defensive move, and Barry did not make an aggressive dive to the inside there. I kind of thought he would. He was close enough.
Watch out for Matt Hudson.
Yep, I saw it too. He's setting something up. Look at him.
Yep. He's done a lot of those this evening,
yes,
Hudson. It's his favourite spot on the circuit is the boot.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be at all surprised if he goes for a move here. It takes a wide line through toe And will he be alongside? No, you could just see the extra speed and traction on the exit.
That's what it is. He's building up his momentum to close on him later. Look at it. See how he's closing up here? That's all because of that line he took back there. Nice wide line there, too. He carried all that momentum through there. But these guys are all flying up here. What a battle.
Bird nearly drops it though through heel. Did you see when he was going through the runoff area? He was biting with the car. He very nearly drops it, but he's lucky to maintain his spot ahead of Barry and Hutchinson. Hutchinson's dropped back though, so he didn't go through the final section of the lap as sweetly as he wants to have done, which has cost him ground.
Yes.
Barry, well, what will he do with Bird here?
I mean, Bird is doing a phenomenal job, and all I can think about is if you were in Jamie Bird's spot, and you look at who's behind you, you got James Barry and John McCutcheon. I mean, that's two of the biggest names in radical racing. And they're both right there behind. Oh, he's trying to make a move on the inside. He might have something here.
He's got ahead of him. He's ahead of him. It's James Barry ahead of Jamie Bird, and he's finally through. James Barry through second place. Because had he been stuck behind him, Matt Hudson for sure would have been through on him at some point.
McCutcheon caught a nasty curve back there and really upset his car, but he held on to it.
Can Barry pull away from Bird and Matt Hudson? There's been some battling going on further behind involving the likes of Mike Bousson, Josh Reed and even Bremer.
Yes.
They're all in their own battle for 6th place here, or 5th rather. Bousson having a better race of it here. It's been a difficult start to the season, has to be said, for Mike Bousson. You mentioned about the raw pace that Mike Bousson brings to this field, but the results haven't exactly matched up to it.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a couple of incidents where he just, he's got himself into a little trouble. Josh Reed is definitely one of those guys that has surprised me with his pace this season. Definitely caught me off guard. He wasn't really on my radar. That doesn't mean he wasn't fast before, just from my perspective. He's caught me off guard. This is, Bousson though, man. He had the pace last week too. It just didn't work out for him.
This is Barry and Bird.
Yeah, McCutcheon's got that. Oh, look at Bird go.
Yeah, he's going for it. It's Bird.
He's got this move.
He's committed to it. He's on the inside. He's back ahead of Barry. So Barry hasn't been able to move away. He spins and takes Hudson with him.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, McCutcheon's back now, almost 2 seconds. Holy cow. Let's come back and see. Oh, that curb just yanked him. Oh my gosh. One more time.
That's James Barry going. That's James Barry going for the spin on his own, and he was very lucky to intake.
Golly, he hit McCutcheon. McCutcheon did a good job of hanging on to it there. If he didn't get any damage out of that, he'll be, he'll still be a viable contender to close back up there. But, and he did inherit the final podium spot by that little incident. But, wow. Golly, that curve has bitten some people, huh?
Hasn't it just? And, the heel corner as well has been another which has caught a number of drivers out, but that has given Luke Maxwell the buffer I think he needs for the remainder of this, because I just don't see John Hutchinson catching up to anyone. He doesn't have the toe that he needs to close in on Birds. He's going to have to really take some life out of those tyres to really get onto the rear of Bird. But how much damage has this car sustained from this scrap, from the little scrape from James Barry, who's no longer in this race now? His race is done.
Yeah. McCutcheon could very well have damage from that. Because it clipped the back end of his car. He could have wing damage. You just never know. Just a little battle right here, though, between Bousson and Reed. This is getting great too. I mean, again, Josh Reed, and he's showing that he has pace.
He's got a lot of pace in this one, certainly, has Mike Bousson. You can just see how much he's closing on Hutchinson here. And instead of Hudson really closing on Bird, he's catching up to him a little bit. But you're just looking at these three here, thinking that they could all of a sudden snatch a podium out of this. Though we just see further on in the background, Paul Crabb and Paul LeMay in 7th and 8th.
Yeah, that's a good battle back there too. Look at this. I mean, you got Paul LeMay all over Crabb right here.
LeMay nearly ran into Crabb through the heel. That was very close to being contact between the pair, but luckily they keep going as they are. Paul LeMay on the rear of Crabb, exiting the boot, and coming around the penultimate turn and the last turn before the lap is out. Hudson 1.1 seconds off Bird in the battle for second place. Buson around about a couple of seconds off, and you just see Reed under attack from Ivan Brummer for 5th place. Reed has made a brilliant race of it from where he started 15th on the grid to get up to 5th place. He may well get more than what he's bargained for.
Yeah, one of the things that's interested me now, I want to see, let's take a look at this right here. We'll keep the camera on this 3, but we'll keep it on Buson. And I want to go look at sectors.
Well, Paul Crabb and Paul LeMay are in a fight of their own. They just swapped places, Jim, whilst you were looking at that.
Let's see real quick. Oh, he sure did, didn't he?
Yeah, well, they were fighting around where the inner loop is. Paul Crabb was able to hold on for the time being, but Hudson is now on the rear of Bird. They are now just 4 tenths off each other. Can Hudson find his way past Bird and go after Luke Maxwell? He's running out of time.
He is running out of time. He's got, what has he got, 7 minutes left, and he's got to get by Bird, which is not going to be an easy task as fast as Bird has been. And then he's got another 2.5 seconds up from there. That's a lot to do in 7 minutes. He's got to make fast work of Bird, or he's going to have no chance of getting up to the front.
I reckon we've got about 4 laps to go here in this one, maybe 5 if they can get over the line quick enough. Hudson alongside Bird, entering the S's, and he's done him. He's done him, has
nice.
John Hudson.
That is a nice move right there. Clean.
Very, very clean. Nicely done there by John Hudson through into second place. Bird not giving it up. Still keeping his nose in front. He's not going to get him into the inner loop. He's too far back. Hudson should have the inside line, and he goes through. And he just needs to be careful. Doesn't take too much curve through here. Doesn't do so. I think he took that rather cautiously to ensure he got through the corner without any drama. So now he's run about 2.5 seconds off Luke Maxwell. Has he got enough time to go after him? He needs to try and pull away from Jamie Bird first, though.
Or are the two of them hook up and draft a little bit and pick up a little speed? Both of them. You know, I don't know that that Bird's going to cooperate like that because he wants his spot back, I'm sure. But we'll watch the gap now. Let's see. We'll watch the sector time between Maxwell and McCutcheon and see if McCutcheon can close up on him now.
Maxwell did a 139.4 on the last lap. Hudson did a 139.1. And I reckon on this lap, considering how quickly Hudson is getting the gap down, it looks like he may well have gained a little bit more on Maxwell this time around. We'll see where they are in terms of the laps. So Maxwell did a 139.7, Hudson did a 139.5. But considering that Maxwell was fighting it out with Bird, he's only gained 2 tenths on Maxwell on that last tour. She's got around about, I think there's 3 laps to go in this one now.
Yeah, if
so
you look
Hudson's
here at the sector times, the only sector so far that Maxwell was fastest in that last sector. So and here we start the next lap, and Maxwell's faster in that sector as well.
I'm going to interrupt you, Jim, because we've got a battle between Reed and Buson. Reed got by Buson for 4th place before they got to the inner loop. That is Reed past Buson for 4th, and Buson down to 5th.
Let's go back and show that. Let's show everybody what happened there.
This is rather similar. Is this? No, this is Paul Crabb, I think, that's just got overtaken by Might have been Paul May. Is that even?
My bad. I thought I clicked.
No, it is. Sorry, that's John
Yeah.
Hudson through on Jamie Bird.
Oh,
So
it
that's
is,
a replay.
okay.
Of,
Yes, I'm sorry.
yeah,
that's the one I meant to click. Oh, look at that nice little move, huh?
yeah, that was.
Oh,
I think
yeah. Tucked right
it's
up
almost like
on
Booston
him.
didn't. Yeah, it's almost like Booston didn't really fight that one.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he had so much momentum. I don't know that fighting it would have been a wise idea. But man, look at Josh Reed. He's flying right there. Wow. Well, he carried some momentum through there, didn't he? That's impressive.
Yeah, very, very impressive
Good job
indeed.
on Josh Reed, man. But Busan's not going to give that up too easy. And as I look at him just sitting here watching the times up front, I don't really see that Maxwell's closing. He is slightly, but he's going to have to make up something big.
Coming out of the S's once more. Reed and Busan together. Bremer just a little bit further back. Waiting to see if anything happens involving these two.
Oh, here we
Coming
go.
towards the inner loop. There goes Busan, making the most of the toe. Round the outside of Josh Reed before they get to the inner loop. And Reed, no, Reed was always going to have the inside line, and Busan had to get out of it.
You and Bremer, I thought Bremer was about to take advantage of that there for a second. Man, there's good battle. Paul LeMay just passed Crab again. Oh my goodness!
Big accident for Paul Crab.
Is torn up. Oh my goodness. Who?
End of the race and end of the evening's work for Paul Crab. Did he lose it by himself? I reckon he's about to lose it, and then the May just runs into him.
Oh my gosh!
No, he completely drops it. No other drivers involved. That was a tank slapper as he got through the right-hander.
I mean, was that a tank slapper, you think?
Yeah, he completely got a kick of oversteer.
One more time. Let's see. All right, I'm sorry.
Maybe it's getting on board view.
Oh yeah, he's oversteering right there. Yeah, he's oversteered. Oh, yeah, there it caught.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow, that's so unfortunate for Paul. Holy cow! White flag coming
Final
out
lap.
here. So,
Final lap of the race. Hutchison gained 7 tenths.
7 tenths,
Or
yeah.
5 tenths. Sorry, 5 tenths, sorry, on Luke Maxwell on that last lap. 1.8 seconds to make up. He's not going to do it.
No.
There's no way he's going to do it unless Maxwell totally buckles it on the last lap.
Yeah, and that would be. Yeah, he's going to have a pretty big mistake there to catch him. I tell you what, though, if he had 2 or 3 more laps, I think he'd run him down. Whether you can pass him or not is another story. Look at Bremer here making a move. Oh, both of them. They're not going to get Reed on the outside like that.
Well, there's Reed holding on ahead of Busan and Bremer, who have had a really good tussle all the way through this race. Gert-Jan Polman in the pits. He looks like he's been involved in an incident somewhere, and so his race is coming to a premature close in the final laps.
Yeah, Polman had an off track. I don't want to cut away from this to go look at it though.
No, we'll stay with the leaders because Maxwell's about to make it 3 apiece in terms of wins with John Hutchison this season as they get by a back marker there who's suffering with damage actually.
Oh,
but
a lot of
they
damage,
get through it. A lot of damage. I think that might be Nick Marshall who's crawling around. But Matt Hudson is through that now anyway. Oh, Maxwell, sorry, is through that. And it's going to come around to be win number 3 of the season for Luke Maxwell. And what a drive it has been. He remains in the lead of the championship as a consequence. Luke Maxwell wins at Watkins Glen. He takes the final race win of the evening ahead of John Hudson. Hudson took out 6 more tenths on him on that final tour. 1.2 seconds to the margin at the flag. Jamie Bird in 3rd place. A well-deserved podium, it has to be said, after a brilliant race from him. Josh Reed 4th from 15th on the grid ahead of Mike Buson. And it's Ethan Bremer, Paul LeMay, Manu de Graaf, David Walters getting over the line in 9th place. Some useful points for him. Peter Solders will end the evening inside the top 10.
Yeah, it's a good run for him. Good run for him. We haven't mentioned his name all night. That's a fantastic run. Pick up a nice 8 spots. Pick up 10th place. That's a good run.
We've got Josiah Douglas, Stefan Mellis, and Gert-Jan Polman, who did stay in the race.
Good for him.
But yeah, he's got to the checker flag. I think Damien Gee got to the checker flag, albeit he was a few laps behind the leaders. Thinking of it, I'm just waiting for those to get over the line. But what a race, Jim!
Yeah, good racing. Good racing. A couple of unfortunates there, man. I hated to see that happen. Like to Crab, that was so unfortunate right there when it happened to him. But what a run by Josh Reed. So impressive. Obviously Luke and McCutcheon, they're, the unfortunate part is you just take it for granted. Those guys are so fast. You know what I mean? All right, let's see. See if we can get the overall results. I think we should be good now.
It may have been John Hudson taking race wins 1 and 2, but it's Luke Maxwell who ends the evening with the race 3 victory, 1.1 seconds ahead of John Hudson at the flag. Jamie Bird in 3rd place, Josh Reed 4th, Mike Booston in 5th place at Even Brummer. Then it's Paul Lemay, Bender DeGraaf, David Walters, and Peter Solders running out the top 10. Josiah Douglas on merit, finishing in 11th place. Nicely done from him, ahead of Stefan Millis. Gert-Jan Polman in 13th place. And in the closing stages, we lost Paul Crabb and Damien Gee. Nick Marshall crawling around with damage as well. James Barry, who lost. That's a big one in terms of the championship. Michael Lemay and Andrew Horswood did not finish themselves. We'll give it a few minutes before we get some interviews underway, Jim. Over the course of the evening's action, I have to say that some corners have caught some of the drivers out, even the best of the best. With James Barry losing it, Paul Crabb losing it, it's been endless stuff.
Yeah, and when you think of what I call the bus stop chicane, when you think of it catching people, you think of the entry getting people. It wasn't the entry; it was the exit. If you took too much curb on the left hand side, is what got everybody, and that was kind of surprising. It's not the normal spot that you see. I'm so glad to see Mike Bousson get him a top 5 there. He's been fast, and it just hasn't worked out for him. He finally, caught one there. But I have to say, Josh Reed, super surprised, great run. Man, what a fantastic season he's putting together already. That's great.
Fantastic indeed. I tell you what, since he's in the interview room now, we'll get him in here, Luke Maxwell, Jim, if you want to get him into the booth. Then we can have a word with him.
Yeah, he is there. All right. Let's bring your winner in here. There he is.
Here he is. Luke Maxwell, my man, how are you?
All right, yeah, not too bad. Thanks, guys. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. That was a rather interesting evening's action, really, across the whole field. But sum it up from your perspective. Obviously, you've come away with the race 3 victory. But maybe talk about races 1 and 2, how you saw it, because it was quite topsy-turvy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I got a good... Well, race 1 was just really about, I think just trying to settle in and not worry too much about pushing for top places. But I think I was P4 in the end, so I was quite happy with that. And then got a good grid spot in race 2. Got a cracking start, but then you can't really break the toe when the quick guys are behind you. So as soon as one got past, they bullied me, they swamped me. And, I think I dropped back to 4th, and then luckily for Josh, I think he span out, so promoted up to 3rd. But that was good to follow James around for a while. It was he's very quick out of the corners. He seems to get on throttle quite early and makes it stick, which means it's very hard to keep put pressure on him. So that was good though. I really enjoyed it. And then race 3 got a little bit of a gap there and thought I better push now, even though we were a bit worried about the tyres cooking. But managed to make just enough gap. I could see John come in, but when it was the last lap, I was just thinking I'll take it easy now. That's all right. I've got it in the bag.
I think it was aided a little bit by the incident with James Barry, who had a spin, and then John took some evasive action from that. He picked up maybe a little scrape on the side, which obviously compromised, some ground of which you'd have had to have made up. And I think that maybe what had decided the race, because had it not been for that, I think Matt Hutchinson would have been right on your tail to the finish. But it was a very, very good victory. And I was saying to Jim, it's now 3 apiece in the football match in regards to race wins. Only you and John have picked up race wins so far this season.
Well, John did well tonight, didn't he? Winning the first 2. He's obviously he's got good pace around here. It's not my favourite track. I struggle for consistency. I can string a hot lap together, and then I struggle to repeat it. Because it's there's a lot of diciness, especially over the bus stop. So no, fair play to John. He was quick here tonight. So I was very pleased to get a decent result in the feature race for sure.
Yep. 4th in race 1, 3rd in race 2, 1st in race 3, keeping yourself in the championship lead by our maths. Next week, then, Ledenen, France. Have you raced there before?
I think I've done it in the SR8 before, so it's quite a twisty one, isn't it? I think, if memory serves me right. So yeah, well, should be good fun actually in this car. So
yeah, indeed, it should be actually. This should be a good car for that track.
Go get some practice in.
Yeah. Tell you what, with this field, you got to.
Yes, that's very true. Very true.
Anyone you want to shout out to, Luke, before we let you go?
No, not tonight. Yeah, we'll leave it, guys.
Well, very well done tonight, Luke, keeping yourself in the championship lead on tonight's results. And best of luck to Ledenen next week.
Cheers, guys. All the best.
A great race from Luke Maxwell. 4th in race 1, 3rd in race 2, and the win in race 3. And yeah, he's keeping himself very, very nice.
Now.
Yeah, let's bring John in because he's had a brilliant evening. Certainly better than what it was last week in Mount Panorama. 2 wins and a 2nd place, John. I don't think you can complain about that, can you?
No, good night tonight. Enjoyed that. A little bit sweaty, but good close racing as usual.
I got a question for you, John. Did you catch any damage when you got clipped in that late incident? Did that mess your car up at all in the last race?
I don't know how, because it felt like there was contact, so I was expecting damage, but no. The Jim said everything was okay.
No, that's good. Yeah, I obviously it cost you about a second and a half there just from the, contact that you having to avoid. Did I think the results, I'm not going to say the results would have been different, but I think you'd have been up there battling for the victory there in the last couple of laps if you hadn't have got clipped in that little incident, I believe.
Yeah, maybe a chance to put more pressure on Luke towards the end, but we'll never know. I'm happy with P2. I was just happy to avoid James. It looked a weird.
It did look weird. We went back and looked at it. I thought it was some kind of weirdness, but Tom spotted it. He was just had some oversteer there, and he was trying to correct it, and all of a sudden it caught and just shot that way.
I know you can hit the 3rd curb too tight. I know, and it'll do that to the car, but it didn't. It seemed to us after the 2nd curb, but that's strange.
Yeah, very. So another good night for you. Great night actually. We were trying to figure out the point standings. You're either I think you're right there in 2nd, but it could be 1st. We're certainly I'm not the best at math. I got to take my shoes off to count past 10. So
the standings aren't correct because last week's first race, the consolation points weren't included.
Oh.
So I did an Excel sheet, and I'll have to keep a record of it myself. I'll give it to you every week.
Yeah, if you would send that to me, and I will. I'll try to keep them, updated on the in the software so that we can look at them and talk about them during the race. If you would, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll do.
All right, man. You got anybody you want to shout out to while we got you in here?
A shout out to you guys for the broadcast every week. Like I said to you today, I was watching last week's race back, and it was good fun, good comms. So keep it up.
Well, we appreciate it. Like I told you in that message, Tom's he's a great commentator, so that helps a lot.
Yeah, the boy does good.
He does. All right, man. We'll see you next week. But real quick, we got what do we have next week? Oh, Ledenen in France. What do you think of that?
Difficult. It's really, really technical. It's up and down, up and down. It's going to take a few laps of practice, I think.
Should be good for these cars, though, right?
It'll be a blast because the gear, I made the gear in short gears, so it just blasts out of all the corners.
Right. Yeah, a lot of pull coming out of the corners.
Yeah, you're at the next corner before you know it, and so it will be tricky. There will be chaos.
All right, buddy. It was good talking to you, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, catch you later, boys.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, John.
Thanks, Tom.
Just looking at the
Sorry
championship.
about that. I didn't mean to jump over you like that.
No, I'm all for that, mate. I'm all for that. No worries. I've just been working out the championship table. Just I've been working out Maxwell's results to Matt Hutchinson's results. By my calculations, Matt Hutchinson picked up 61 points this evening.
Right.
So that puts his total up to 97. Luke Maxwell's results, if my maths are correct, his total goes. So I'm just trying to know how many points he got. So 13 plus 14 plus 25. That's 52. So Maxwell, 52 plus 57 is 109. So Maxwell's on 109, and Hutchinson moving up to second place in the championship is on 97.
Oh, okay.
So Maxwell is 12 points ahead of Hutchinson in the championship race.
Well, and I wonder what John was talking about there with the consolation points not being added in the stuff that we saw. So we'll have to see how that, I don't know what that's gonna do, but we'll get it square this week. He said he's gonna start sending it, so we'll should have fresh good points every week from now on. But either way, man, we got a heck of a battle brewing between those two, and there's some real thoroughbreds back there who have not shown their true colors yet, like James Berry. I mean, you just know before this is over, James Berry is going to be involved in that championship. There's just no doubt about it. He is.
He needs a consistent run of form. I mean, he may use the round. It could end up being his drop scores at the end of the season. So his season could well start from next week, Jim. Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah. So just to remind you that the pros and the AMs will be determined after tonight's showing. So next week, you'll see two classes. Whoever will be in pro will be in pro, and whoever will be in AM will be AM. But don't be at all surprised to see Luke Maxwell and John Hutchinson in the pros. I don't see them being in the AMs. Yeah.
What I'm wondering is who's going to be dropped into the AMs, that's because there's going to be somebody down there that's fast, and I'm just wondering who that's going to be, so that's going to be fun to see when that pops up this week, and who's going to be in the pros maybe that is going to have a hard time, keeping up. So that's going to be exciting. I'm ready to see that. In fact, I hope he gets it done and sends it to me quick.
Leadonen's going to be a new experience for me to commentate on, because I've never commentated on Leadonen personally. But
I've raced it. I'm not even sure what cars. It was some of those early cars, maybe like MX-5 or the Toyotas or something like that. It's a fun course. I actually like it. It's tough though. It's got a lot of corners that'll kind of fall away from you that you got to really rotate the car. It should be a blast in these things, though. It really should, because they got a little downforce. Everything I've raced it in did not have downforce at all. So it should be fun. I'm excited for that.
I'm excited for it as well. Just want to say a huge thank you to the drivers for putting on a brilliant show this evening. Thank you to all who have tuned in. Do make sure you like and subscribe in case you haven't already done so, and then you can keep right up to date with everything on the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel. Jim, I just want to say a huge thank you for your time, commentating alongside me, and we'll do it all again in 7 days' time. I'm Tom Cairns, he's Jim Cunningham, and we'll speak to you again soon when the Radical SR8 Championship returns.